One shot at a time.
You're right, Roy. Just knock it on. Let her rip.
You're playing golf today.
No, I'm not, Grandpa. I'm playing tennis.
You're playing golf and you're going to like it.
You just go home. That's your home. Are you too good for your home? Answer me.
Welcome to the Out the Bunker podcast with DT and Jase.
Obviously, look, there's always stigma stereotypes. We spoke about it in episode 1 about every different culture, every different race, right? You can talk about Croatians, me being Croatian, what we're like. You can talk about South Africans, what are South Africans like, right? So some of the, I guess, common questions that people always ask or thoughts that go on with Indigenous things, and I want you to just briefly, all right?
See how specifically he aimed that at you?
Briefly.
Don't talk for hours.
Yeah, my bad. Because, I was about to say, how long
because we're going to have to wrap up soon, right? So,
are we already there?
So tell me about
the first part.
Yeah, tell me about Tennant Creek.
So, look,
Take it back.
When we talk about Indigenous people and things that, you know, they say on TV, and look, most of the things that white people see, they are ignorant because we only see what we can see. Right? In terms of like Western culture, we only see what we're given.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like anything, even if it's got nothing to do with race, we only see what we see. The whole COVID situation, we only see what we see. Yeah. Right. So all the bad things that happened in the past, just quit complaining, man, and learn to move on. All right.
Yeah. You want me to start with that one?
Start with that one.
Shit, that even makes me mad. I can't wait to hear your answer.
Yeah, but like, it's something that we get told all the time. And so I think, what I think about, so I laugh at it when people tell me that. Because my family history with, so a lot of the times it's point at stolen generation, right? And the impacts of that. So there's this thing called intergenerational trauma, right?
Yep.
So when Caucasians or colonizers or whatever we want to call them.
Just say white people. It's fine. It's not.
I'm not chucking all you white people in the same box.
No, because like I said, this whole conversation is in generalities.
Okay.
It's all in stereotype or general. You know what I mean? Like,
I might make it specific.
Yeah.
but like if I ever say, oh look, black people are known to be blah blah blah, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that I'm talking about every single person.
Yeah, if you say black people love chicken, I'm sure there's a black vegan out there.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, they're stupid, but I'm sure there's a black person.
They like chicken.
Chicken.
You know, like it's just a stereotype.
Cauliflower chicken.
Trust me, we don't take any offense, man.
Yeah. But all right. So
I find it funny that you're the one being sensitive about what you're saying here.
No, because
meanwhile I'm stuck between you two talking about this stuff. Like,
no. So this is something that I've learned.
Like, damn.
This is something I've learned over time. Is for us to get true change as a society, we need to have conversation about this stuff.
100%.
Right? And if we're having a conversation, so I'm very, and you might get this too, Jase, right? I'm very careful not to come across as the angry black guy. Because I know for a fact once I hit that point, you stop listening. As in the other person I'm talking to.
No,
right?
I get it, man.
So once the blinders come on and it's like, there he goes.
Exactly what I'm talking about, right there.
Knew he'd do
it.
Yeah.
So then I try my best to come across in the least. I try and disarm everything so that I can actually have a proper conversation.
Yeah, and I love that. That's
Which at the same time is also just you being you, though.
100%.
You're not the angry black man because you probably would then have to force that change versus you just being you and having that type of conversation.
There's so many times where like I feel myself wanting to like all the pain of my ancestors to come out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I go
funneled into one individual person.
Like if you could just put all that power into one slap.
Yeah, honestly, I'd be a Dragon Ball Z warrior if I could.
Dude. Yeah, 100%. So I try to go, okay. And like there's so many passive aggressive statements that people use, like, oh, you just need to be educated and all that kind of stuff. Doesn't solve the problem.
No.
Right? And at the end of the day, I'm not trying to convince you, right? But I'm just trying to, and I don't mean to keep pointing at you.
Dude, I don't care. Stop stressing. We've spoken about this prior.
He's the only white one at the panel.
But so I just try my best to hopefully you go, oh, wait a second. Yeah, I never thought about that. Or maybe that's something I can look up or something, right? And so when I get told or I hear that statement, just forget about it, move on. I go, well, wait a second. Because like we're talking about my dad. We're talking about my grandma and we're talking about her mum.
Yeah.
Right? Parts of stolen generation, right? And so a lot of people don't realize that stolen generation wasn't some mystical thing that happened 200 years ago.
Ah, man, that was recent.
Yeah, yeah,
real recent.
Yeah, no, yeah, 100%.
And the flow-on effects from that still hurt our people to this day.
Yeah.
So I guess so. This is where I'll play that devil's advocate.
Yeah.
I guess when I come back to you, right? Let's say if you're a white fella, right?
Yeah.
And you've had, I guess, negative. Like I've been jumped in Freo when I was in high school by 3 Indigenous boys.
Yeah.
Right. Let's say
What did
that
you
was
do?
my.
Nah, I'm messing.
Literally walking.
He told him to get over it.
What did you do?
They said, "Get over this."
I was like, why are you in a car? But like, so if that was my only interaction,
Yeah.
right, and I then just consistently, 9 times out of 10 had bad interactions with Indigenous people.
Right.
And then you said that to that person. Well, dude, not all of us are like that. You just got to get over it.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Or do you still expect that person to have some kind of like, and you can strip away Indigenous and white, you can talk about anything. You can talk about tall people to short people. Like if you just have negative interactions with a certain group of people,
Right.
it's kind of human nature to build a prejudice, right?
Right. But
So like, would you be allowed to then turn around and go, dude, just get over it, man? Like, we're not all like that. Just get over it.
well, that's
Do you know what I
that's
mean?
what I'm saying every day.
Yeah.
Because we're not all like this.
Yeah.
This thing that you have made up in your head, and like this is messed up too. Like I have such a weird brain and mind, the way it works and the way it thinks. So if some dude got jumped 10 times, I'm gonna be like, man, what? Like 100% being honest, like, what are you doing? Like, why is it the same guys that are jumping you? Like, where are you going? Why are you always in this situation?
I was in Freo, bro, right across the street from Target, and no one helped.
What time were you there?
Afternoon, after school, I had to catch a bus. I had to catch
wild,
an hour and 15-minute bus.
What were you wearing? What did they jump you for?
So I had a chain, right, and I had a red Echo hat,
And he had the British flag around as a cape. Like,
and I had I had this hood. It was like a hood. But it was and I had basketball shoes on because I'd just come back from afternoon hoops. Literally just crossing the street, and one stood in front of me and was like,
Wait.
yeah.
And then, like, I don't mean to break this down even more. How do you know they're Aboriginal?
Oh, man. Dude, like, there's a look. Okay, so that's
Yeah.
just be honest. Because it's very easy to say why.
Like, it's not like that. Because if I looked at you,
Yeah.
if we're just talking about skin tone, if I looked at you, I wouldn't
Yeah.
say Aboriginal. But I guess if you said Aboriginal, what you would know as like a native Aboriginal, like from 400 before white people came here.
Yeah.
That's what they.
Do you feel how much pressure he's under right now?
But I'm saying that's what they looked like.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
Okay.
it wasn't like there was any discrepancy between.
They had spears?
Are they?
No, wait a second.
Yeah, 100%. No, but does that make sense? Like,
Yeah, no, I get you.
Yeah.
I get you. Did they
I
say
mean-
something to you when they're doing it?
what do you mean? No. They were, dude.
They were quiet.
I wasn't exactly trying to
are you
be
doing
like,
this?
what are you saying, dude? Like,
Oh.
I was trying to protect myself.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Because I was trying to just punch at least one.
You're
to
trying,
get out of
yeah.
it.
Well,
You know what I
3-on-1's
mean?
not fun.
No.
Yeah.
So, but like, I don't hold that prejudice.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But there are people who have like had bad dealings
That'll
with
mold them.
anyone.
That'll mold
and
them.
it does mold them, right?
Yeah.
So in saying that,
But like,
some other things.
You can't, and this is the thing. Even those individual people, and I'm gonna bring something up real quick. Is those individual people, we can't hold them accountable for one act they did. Of
course.
And I don't know how many times they did it. They might be the greatest people you never got to meet in your life, right?
Mm.
But that certain situation at that age, it just happened.
Yeah.
To play out that way. Something that I noticed with, and it's not just with Indigenous people, it's with people of color as well. And that's the thing that I always notice is how similar and different Indigenous people are to people of color. When there's something negative that happens, right, it's all Indigenous people, right? When something positive happens, it's the individual.
But is that within your own culture?
Everywhere. Like with I feel like it happens everywhere, but with us, I see it all the time. And so like these little things, like I'm not trying to be a smartass here. They're called microaggressions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we see them everywhere. Like as Indigenous person, as a person of color, you read them every day. You see them, and you're like, why did they word it that way? And so to highlight that, a lot of people will go through that experience, it's a negative experience that happened with some Indigenous people, and they're like, all Indigenous people right there.
Yeah.
But then we brought up Kathy Freeman before, right?
Mm-hmm.
She ran, she gets the gold medal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, yes, Kathy, she's a champion. She's Australian now because she's a champion, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't highlighted like, you know what I mean, as something positive for Indigenous people.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you just brought that up because I was going to use the comparison of Peter Bol.
Yeah.
When he qualified and did all the stuff that he did that was absolutely amazing and he made all these big moves, he was Australian athlete.
Yeah.
When his thing came back as a false positive, it was South Sudanese athlete, Peter Bol.
Yeah.
And my friend Emo brings it up all the time in his jokes and stuff because he's obviously made light of a dark situation. But when he was benefiting our country, he was an Australian athlete.
One of our people,
When something went wrong and he wasn't able to get backed by, you know, I'll say quote unquote the white Australian government, he was South Sudanese. I don't know if they labelled him an immigrant, but they called him South Sudanese athlete Peter Bol.
Yeah.
And then
They put him
had
in that box.
on the front page when they slandered his name, and then it came back as a false positive and he got wiped, and then they put their apology in a little box on page 3.
100%.
So, you know, in likeness with Kathy Freeman, when she was breaking all those records and she wore her green and gold
I get
thing.
goosebumps every time I think about that whole situation.
Can you imagine if she had worn an Aboriginal coloured bodysuit that was half and half?
I don't know if you remember at the time. There
she
was
had the
so
flag.
much controversy about
over
her
the
having the
flag.
flag.
I remember that.
And I remember, I'm getting chills talking about it right now, but I remember, so before Sydney, she did it.
Yeah.
And there was all this controversy about it.
Yep.
And everyone thought she wasn't going to do it because she was told she wasn't allowed to do it. And then she goes Sydney, and like you get goosebumps the whole way through that. The little documentary they had a little while ago with it all. It's just amazing to relive that, you know what I mean? And then she goes and grabs the flag again, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
I mean, it's exactly like that. And this is again speaking in a very big generalization, and obviously those people are in positions of fame where people will idolize them. So you know, athletes or whatever.
yeah,
As soon as they're doing something good,
yeah,
it's for the betterment of the country. They're represented as Australian, and even to Kathy Freeman, she's easily our greatest athlete in the Olympics. Easily. I can't think of anybody that's done better. I guess maybe in track and field outside of the swimming arena.
yeah.
But God forbid she had gotten done for drugs.
But would
can
you
you
not say
imagine
the
the
same
flip
thing?
side of what that story would have been?
Or something. Yeah.
So what are they? I mean, I've never really taken notice, but I mean, what would they do for a white person that did that?
Nothing.
Well,
It's
no,
because
they'd
nobody.
They still
well, they
report.
would.
You can't say nothing.
They would.
They'd
No,
still
they would. But it
report.
wouldn't to be to that magnitude where,
So that's
let's
what I'm
say, Matt
saying.
Shervington got done for got a false positive in his drugs.
But-
They wouldn't have said white Australian athlete.
No,
Yeah,
Matt
and
Shervington.
it wouldn't fall on the whole population of white
Yeah,
people.
they wouldn't get
It'd be
painted
per
with the
person
same brush.
individual, right?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. But they
Negativity.
would say, like, let's say when I don't know, Tony Lockett belted the crap out of Tony Liberatore back in the day.
Yeah.
They didn't go, like they didn't just eliminate the fact he was a Sydney Swans player or a St Kilda player. They were like St Kilda full forward, blah blah blah.
They
Like,
eliminated the fact that he was white, though.
Yeah. And can we say that we said they a
I
lot.
say they as society.
No,
I
but
say
that's
they
what I'm
as a
saying, they.
society.
Yeah. But did they? I mean, did they actually go black athlete Peter Bol?
No,
Or
but
did they say South Sudanese?
they
South
filtered him
Sudanese.
down to his nationality.
Yeah,
But
whereas
when he was
before-
doing well, he was Australian athlete
Yeah.
Peter Bol.
He was ours.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
As
was
a
one of
community.
he was quote unquote one of us.
That's
Yeah,
our
yeah.
guy. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And so
Alright.
and so leading into that, right? Well, with that, I always get annoyed when the paper says 5 Aboriginal teens did this, and it's a negative thing, right?
Or should just be five teens.
5 teens,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But then whenever it's negative, it's all of us. We all get blamed for it, right? But when it's a positive thing, it's
To the individual.
the way it always gets read to me. It's to the individual, and then it's always to do with luck, or it's always to do with they're special, they're different.
Against all odds.
Yeah.
So I guess this is
You know what
where.
I'm
So I mean, look,
And I don't mean to make light of you getting jumped in Frio based on
dude,
that.
I don't care. Like, yeah, I don't think you. Yeah,
No, you
I
know,
don't, yeah.
I know I do, but at
Yeah.
the same time, I'm sorry it happened.
But like, how do we bridge that gap? I guess that's what that's one of the questions we've had to kind of. I'm jumping around here because we're just free
Sorry.
flowing here. But
Yeah.
what are we actually meant to do to bridge that gap? Because I've got my views on it about, I guess, both sides need to come to that party.
Yeah.
Right? It's fine to just say, like, and it sucks to say, but at the end of the day, we're here.
Yeah.
Like, colonization happened.
Yeah.
Regardless of how bad it was at the time or whatever, it's happened. We all now have the luxuries that we do.
Yeah.
If you actually just said, no, we don't want you here anymore, they then take everything with them, and let's just how do we then bridge that together without just going, no, you need to do this, this, and this, without people just saying that's what we need to do. You know what I mean?
And I apologize if this is like completely wrong. And something I should have said at the start as well. I need to make it very clear to you guys and the listeners that I don't speak on behalf of all Aboriginal people.
No, of course not.
This is just all our own individual opinions.
This is just individual.
I need to
put
put it
that up
out there.
anyway.
I need to put it out there because I don't want people then go to work and be like, well, actually, I heard an Aboriginal guy on a podcast and what he said was,
no.
You know what I'm saying? So these are my points of views.
But I'm saying, like, so, because every Australia Day, it goes nuts.
Yeah.
Social media goes nuts, right? And TV and everything like that. But you see so many people from both sides just arguing.
Yeah.
Rather
Nothing
than
happens,
actually, and nothing ever happens, right? So,
can I ask what you think?
For the day?
Yeah.
My honest opinion, I couldn't care less.
Yeah.
Like, for me, as long as I, like, and look, and this is the problem, right? You will say Aussie people don't want to do this, blah, 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 but I'll say most Indigenous people have a skewed view of what most white Aussies really want. We all just want a day off.
Yeah, 100%.
90% of the Aussie population couldn't care less that it's got to do with our flag, or all they want is a day off, to chill by the pool, have a barbie, go to the beach or whatever. That's most of them. What you see on the news is
the news is trying to they're trying to sway and trying to get clicks and all that kind of stuff.
Like, if you said to me, I want to change the day to December 25th, I couldn't care less.
Yeah,
right. Because it means
but it becomes
nothing
a political
to me.
thing.
Yeah, and that's right.
And I know, and actually, I think they've done not studies, but they've looked at the facts and figures, and the number is like 80% of Australians don't care.
No, they don't.
You know what I mean? And I think the number is pretty high that they don't even celebrate Australia Day. They just have the day off.
We just have the day off. That's what I'm saying.
Right?
Yeah.
And so from my perspective, why is it such a big deal to change the date?
I don't know.
Because it becomes this swaying argument thing.
Yeah,
and
it's once a year. They know they're going to get hits on social media. They're going to get hits on TV. It goes nuts, right?
It becomes a cycle, right?
Yeah.
So then, for a group of people that day is painful, it's remembering all this. Was survival day, right? Mm. It's remembering the atrocities that happened during colonization to our people, right? And we get told, oh no, it's to celebrate Australia. Come on, you're a part of Australia. You should be happy. Yeah. And we're sitting there like, wait a second.
Who's Australia?
Yeah.
So do you want to tell me what you hear? And obviously, you have mates and stuff like that think differently, right?
Yeah.
You always do, right? What you will get in return is, and they'll never say this in front of you, right? People will never say it, but they'll go, if we change that day, they'll just complain about something else.
Yeah, you hear that all the time too.
Right?
Which is fair enough, because there's a lot of other shit to complain about.
No, but I'm just saying, like, so...
Well, there's a lot of shit that happened to us. But, okay, let's break this down. So this is what's crazy is, like, I don't want to slander anyone that's not educated, okay? But when you're educated and you understand that hasn't always been celebrated on that day, and actually it's very recently, and when I say recent,
super recent,
within our lives it has just been changed.
When was it? It was 91?
92? It was in the 90s.
Yeah.
I could have sworn it was 91 that it first came
and it was on a different
date
date before.
Yeah, it was.
Then we brought it back to that date.
It only started in the 70s, wasn't it?
Dude.
Something like that?
Each state gets their own.
Yeah.
And so we're arguing about, well, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
So there's always going to be something else. So I know a lot of my brothers and sisters that are very passionate about this topic. They will say, we're not going to celebrate Australia Day until Australia is equal for everyone, right? Because they very much believe that...
Which is going to be never.
Well, until something's done.
Well, and if you look at it as a general scale, it'll be never.
Yeah, right?
As individuals, we could want to do something, but they love creating division, and that'll always be a staple to how they run things.
But name a Western culture that is equal to anything.
That's why I say they. Yeah. It'll never happen. Like, if they say, well, we'll celebrate it when they treat all of us as equals, then you'll die not celebrating it.
Not celebrating it. And at the same time, those people are quite content not celebrating
just doing that.
Of course.
Yeah. And, like, I'm being honest with you, I'm not.
We would
trying
hope
to-
you've not lied this entire time up until now.
Well, right now,
So I didn't grow up in Tennant Creek. No.
it wasn't Tennant Creek. It was down the street. My kids have never celebrated Australia Day. Right? They always ask me, "Oh, the fireworks are on. What's the fireworks?" Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it annoys me
Right?
because I live in the city and I can't fall asleep at
You hear it.
8:30.
How many times we got fireworks going off anyway? At random
Yeah,
times,
random.
always, right?
Gloucester Park's
They're-
terrible for
they're-
it.
You're like, "Whoa, what is
They're
that?"
gunshots, bro.
I just start making up stuff. They're
where
like,
do
"What
you
is
live?"
that?" And I'm like, but yeah. So I feel like it's something that I've taught my kids in a way, just saying, okay, well, this is what some people do, and we don't really celebrate it because of these reasons.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. It's a weird holiday. Like, can we just have the public holiday and then that's it? Like,
You know what I find interesting? So
They're
I
always going to name something, right? Like when they
Yeah.
when they have
Yeah.
a public holiday, they name it something.
but shout out to Fremantle though. Fremantle were like one of the first communities to like just move the date,
But let's
Yeah.
say so.
and
Let's
they have
say
a great
on-
party every year.
So stay on topic though. But like,
Yeah.
so what? How do we actually bridge? No, because the part I want to get to is like,
Yeah. How
there's
do we
so
bridge
many
it?
stigmas, there's so many stereotypes, right?
Yeah.
In terms of like Aboriginals just being angry and violent and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And then the one politician you see representing you guys
Yeah.
is what's her name? Lydia.
Don't bring it up.
Is it Lydia Thorpe?
There's Lydia Thorpe. Yeah.
The one that just like starts going off on people at outside nightclubs and stuff like that. She's the worst Is it Lydia Thorpe? I've got it. I've got it here.
yeah. That's what you're talking about.
It is, right? She's the one that just goes off at people and just like, but she literally does not present herself to help that stereotype.
Right.
In politics, dude, like she's in politics. This conversation we're having, no anger, no violence, no
Yeah.
getting up in your
Wait
face.
till after.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
throwing down.
But this
Yeah.
is the
You can't catch these
conversations that
hands.
should be taking place.
No,
This is how
100%.
it should be going.
But you got
Do
to
you know what
remember,
I mean?
people have different journeys, right? And like, this is not me being political and stuff, but like, I can always tell black rage embodied in someone, right? They've had a lot of crap that they've had to work through, and they've just had enough.
Yeah.
And I've seen people that are super chill their entire life, and then it just gets to a point where they're like, and you can just see it.
The straw that breaks the camel's back.
Right.
I think I've had it happen maybe 5 or 6 times in my life.
Yeah, I get that, but when you're talking politics and when you're in a room of people that you're trying to make change, and you're
Yeah.
trying to make change for a group of people that have been so marginalized,
Yeah.
right? You need to at some point go, I got to play the game.
Yeah.
Right, you have to. If you want to make change, like I hate to say it, but the Indigenous population are minorities. Like they're not going to walk into a room of 500 politicians.
We know that.
And go rah, rah, rah. Oh, so it needs to be approached the way it's been happening hasn't been working. So they need to. This girl, like this Lydia Thorpe, man, I watch her and I get angry just going, you are literally just showcasing what the minority that are brain dead think.
But in a way,
And it doesn't look good for them.
in a way, any publicity is good publicity, right?
Okay, so there's,
I don't know,
there's
man. Not
Dorinda
when it comes
Cox.
to that.
There's Dorinda Cox as well, who's
Dorinda Cox. This is what I was
She's
about
a
to
senator
say.
for
is like,
WA.
There's other people
there's
that
so many other
Yes.
Indigenous people that work in that field, and we've met some really amazing people that do amazing things.
and they're fantastic. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I mean.
also
like,
shout out to Dorinda
So
Cox.
again-
She's the first Indigenous woman to represent WA in the
Yeah.
Senate as well.
Honey Dorinda, what's up? So it goes back into that same pool that we were just talking about before.
Yes.
When there's a positive side, it's that person's good.
yes,
That
so that's what I'm
person's
saying.
different. And then when it's someone that irritates people or goes against the grain, it's like, man, Aboriginal people are wild, man. And
Oh, I don't think like that.
No, wait.
Yeah.
Can I
don't think like that.
just
But what I'm saying is
roll
like-
the tape back? Can I just roll the tape back? When you were saying she doesn't show a good representation of them by being angry and stuff,
Yeah.
if she had acted in that way, would you have been as specific and say, she's actually giving a really good representation for what Aboriginal people are?
Because
Would that have been
You
your
would've said-
thought process?
No,
Some
because
people
if her I would have, because if her conversation is actually being presented in a certain way that is suited for politics, like I don't like Aussie politics as it is. Like when you look at other countries' politics, you look at ours, they sit there and like go, "Oh, look at the shirt you're wearing!" Like it's so bizarre and childish. Like, some
so
of the crap
when-
they do, but when I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about remember
You know,
Most
you
of the
just said that
population
you
are dumb,
look at
right?
her and
Yeah.
say she's not giving a good representation for the people that
Yes.
she's representing.
I'm not saying
When you
me.
see white people,
But I'm
no,
not
you
saying
literally
Yeah.
said, I look at her
Yes,
and this is what I think.
He's
I'm
speaking
giving
from that perspective.
I'm giving it from that perspective.
Yeah, but
Jase.
do you
So-
think that about white people when they act like that?
Yeah, I think they're knobs.
Yeah,
But you
but-
don't think
Of course I
they're
do.
representing all white people?
Yeah. So
No, because most of politics, that's the problem with it. Most of the politics is the white. They're the majority.
Yeah.
So you don't then
'cause
single out that entire
when
thing.
Pauline Hanson is doing whatever she does, right? Do you go there and go, man, white people are crazy?
No, you go, what an idiot.
Yeah.
She's a tool.
Right?
I say white people are crazy.
But do you see what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'll just be honest.
at the end of the day, and this sucks to say, and like I said, I'm going to have this conversation, right?
Yeah. Wait, hold on. Do
You
you know what
need
happens
to-
is like people of color will just look at each other and be like,
They get it.
Yeah.
They get it. They get it because you've had to deal with it.
yeah,
Right? But
Sorry.
the sad part about it is you have to change their minds, not the other way around.
Yeah,
right?
but we don't have to.
No, I know. But what I'm trying to say is
But-
if you want change to happen,
Yeah.
you need to somehow get into that brain. So I'm given like the way I see it, like you need
Yeah.
to get into their brain space and go, okay, what is going to, because they're not just going to give you crap for nothing.
Yeah.
They still want to make sure that they look good coming out of it, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying is like someone like Lydia Thorpe who's standing up and just yelling, mate, I mean, she's getting tackled.
Yeah.
You know, like
I
she's
saw her.
like she's standing out the front of a nightclub talking to guys saying you
Wait.
white this, you white that. That is not going to
Also-
win someone over
They brought
personally.
They brought over someone to do the look. This is hell.
Yeah,
topic.
I know, I saw-
They brought
yeah, I
someone
saw
over
her.
transgender,
The trans thing, yeah, anti-trans,
anti-trans
Yeah.
speech, and she confronted them and she got arrested for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's
But the way she did it too, like that's what I'm saying. There was protesting, and then there was she got up right in front of the bird with the flag and everything like that.
Yeah.
And like the whole thing, she had the Aboriginal flag. Like, don't make it if you're talking there for trans stuff.
yeah.
Why are you then draping yourself in the Aboriginal flag? Like you then are just now you're putting yourself representing them because
Yeah.
you know what's going to happen.
Well, look,
it's going to go on TV and
so-
everyone's going to see it.
Something you got to think about too is one fight for injustice is a fight for all injustice, right? So I can't. So as an Aboriginal man, I can't go out there and be like championing Indigenous rights and then don't care about anyone else's rights. Like it doesn't make sense. It goes hand
That's
in
right,
hand,
yeah.
right? And so I'm not trying to defend
No.
her or anything like that, but I understand, and that's what I'm saying. I understand the black rage. Not just black rage. I understand the rage embodied and wanting to make change and the
course.
frustrations with it. But to your point, the way I see that we're moving forward is by better understanding between, and as much as you don't want to divide it and make it us and them, but just better understanding between us and them, right? And so the beautifulness about all of this is my university journey and being around younger people, younger generations, and seeing how far the that group of people think compared to what it was when I was growing up.
huge
It
change.
is so different.
Yeah.
And to the point where we've been in Indigenous knowledge classes and you know what I mean? Like someone will say something borderline, ask a question that's kind of like a little bit racist and like, you know, all the black people in the room have gone to go, and then a white person's go, I've got this. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're like,
Yeah.
whoa,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the positivity to the point to okay, I was at we were working at the hoops, holiday hoops.
Oh yeah, that's right, yeah.
And one of the kids asked me, "Oh, are you Aboriginal?" And I was like, "Oh." And I was like, as I was about to answer this, I was like, never works out nice. You know what I mean? And when I say yes, actually I'm Aboriginal. You know what I mean? And then she's like, "That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh,
What did you think she was going to say?
dude, I've had some things said to me
I know,
before."
that's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? And before I even said I was Aboriginal, I've had a dude come to the house to quote a patio, and he just started telling me how much he hates half-caste Aboriginal people and how they're the worst.
And
And
you're
I-
just sitting there
and
going,
I was like-
yeah.
I let him go. I let him get him off. and
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, I'm actually...
Yeah, you got to let him get it all out so he
Yeah.
can't backtrack on
Yeah, and he
nothing.
was like, so anyways, here's the quote. And I
Yeah,
was
so,
like,
so I'll do it all for free
Yeah,
for you, is
what
what
an
I'm trying to say.
and then I was like, whoa. Like,
Yeah.
but I'm so used to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you kind of just take it with you.
Yeah.
You know, this is something that you learn as something you should learn as a person in general. But people of color learn it very fast, and they should. And same as Indigenous people, you have to pick your battles. Because if you fight every single battle, you're going to be so tired.
Or you're going to end up on the wrong side of that
You're
battle.
going to end up in jail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess that's kind of where I'm coming from is like, yeah, like there's just certain ways to go about things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm never the person to just, like you, like to just start flying off the handle.
Yeah.
Right? And you can say black rage and all that type of stuff, but I just feel like if you want to see change in people,
Yeah.
you have to approach the people that you're approaching
Yeah.
in the way that they want to be approached.
Yeah.
Right?
But
And I guess that's the only way it's going to make change. Like
I like how you're smiling already.
yeah, because
I disagree with him completely.
Yeah. Because I'm
because
just
it's not
saying-
going to happen.
I'm just saying that, like
Like if you come to me and say, give me your car, because I need it, and you're yelling at me and stuff like that, how do you think I'm going to respond? I'm automatically going to be like, no freaking way, dude.
That's a loose
Look at you.
comparison, but
Yeah.
again,
No, but I'm just saying, but it's to say, like, that's the way I see it. That's my perspective,
Yeah.
is like, she can stand there, and the more she yells at someone,
Yeah.
right, all they're sitting there going is like, woman, shut up.
Oh, 100%.
Like, in their head. Like, imagine if you were just getting yelled at.
Yeah, but see, I mean, I look at it in the sense that if you take it away from Indigenous for a second and you look at the Black Lives Matter protests, right? Originally, that started off as peaceful protests.
Yeah.
They said, "No, you're not going to we're not going to deal with this and stuff." And then they go, "Okay, well, that peaceful protest isn't working." So then some people decided to be violent. And they go, "Well, you certainly can't be violent now," which is fair enough. You know, violence
Yeah,
is
but
never
have
the
you looked at the
solution
deep,
for
dark
everything.
side of the Black Lives
Okay, I'm
Matter?
doing a loose comparison. I know you do your deep dives, but when is ever a good time to go up against somebody who's pushed you down for so long? Because
Yeah.
they're never going to want. Like, my answer to your question is what has to happen is the people who have caused the problem, and I'm not talking about Indigenous people, white people or the white government caused them
But
having
you-
to
you
learn
can
their
say
lives in a certain
colonizers.
way.
You're South African.
Well,
You can say
yeah, that's why I
colonizers.
say white people, because it's
Yeah.
a generalization, right?
Yeah.
And there'll be people who go, not all white people. Of course, not all white
Yeah.
people. I'm speaking in generalities. But they have to want to change first. They want
Yeah.
to have an open mind to listen to, regardless of how you're saying.
Of course.
But you know,
And that's never going to happen. So to
Yeah.
have one person, like this lady who you're referring to, handling herself the way she is, and then the other lady who I brought up before, who I'm sure probably doesn't handle the way, I'm quite sure that to a certain level, both of those ladies are getting ignored.
yeah, but
In sense of what they want to change, right? So
Yeah.
they'll listen to you. You look at the plebiscite that they came out, like, should Aboriginals get, what was it over? The yes or no vote,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
should
yeah.
they get a representative in the Senate or whatever it was?
yeah,
Why give that to all of Australia?
yeah,
You're literally creating division
yeah,
and
It was a
spending insane amounts
voting
of money
poll.
where if you wanted to actually cause change, just give that money to certain people like yourself or other charities that are actually doing the work to help better their communities, instead of putting people who, like you have said, if you've had enough negative experiences, you're not even going to look into what that plebiscite is about. You're just going to
right.
go, nah, they don't deserve a thing.
Yeah.
And then you had those people asking, well, does this mean we're going to lose our jobs? Or does this mean we're going to lose
Yeah.
our benefits or whatever? It's like, okay, your ignorance is only there because you haven't been open and wanted to be open to a
And see,
conversation.
they screwed up on that.
No, 100%.
Right, they-
Well,
the whole vote thing-
The government, look, let's just be clear. That's what they wanted.
Yeah, they didn't screw up on it. They got exactly what they wanted.
No, but I'm saying, like, I actually feel like you would have had more people turn if when he got asked the question.
Turn. They're vampires,
like,
man.
turn, like turn towards from
Yeah.
being a no to a yes.
Yeah.
If I ask you a question, like if I change curriculum,
Yeah.
right, I've got to learn that curriculum.
Yep.
I've got to make sure I know how to implement it. And if I get tested on it, I damn well better know my stuff.
Yeah.
Right? He's the Prime Minister. So what does this mean for everyone? Oh, well, we haven't really outlined that yet. It's like, well, why are you having a
That
vote right
interview
now?
was
Do you know what I mean?
horrendous,
It's like,
wasn't it?
it's like, dude, you should be able to say, this is what it means for this person, this person, this person. Go down the line and have everything well documented. So then when people go to make the vote, they're informed.
Yeah.
So many people were uninformed what was going on.
I wanna
and that's
say-
on them.
Which was in the intention, I think.
But this leads back to this, like, this group of people that decide things. They look at the population and they say, you know what they need? They need this. And then they're the smartest people in the room, the way they see it. And because they can't be bothered to explain it to anyone else in layman's terms or what it means, then everyone else just sit there gasbagging about what it could mean.
That's right.
The amount of times I spoke to people, I was like, this is exactly what this means, right? This is what they're saying. This is how it's going to be outlined, and you know what I mean. It blew their minds.
Yeah.
They're like, wait a second.
But you're talking to tops 100 people.
Yeah.
Do you
No,
know
we
what I
spoke
mean?
to
Like,
so many more. It was
I
crazy.
know. I'm just saying, but you're not going to change 28 million people's views by you going around and talking. That's got to be done from.
Oh no,
up
it
there.
needs to be done up there. But
Yeah.
The fact that was decided before WA's votes even got in was actually
it was crazy.
horrendous.
Yeah.
But then you look at so there was so much false misinformation about that too. Like there was a lot of things that came out in the days after that saying
This social media, man.
saying
It's the
you
worst
know,
thing.
or majority of Aboriginal people didn't want. They all voted no. But then when you look at the statistics, you see that like all the highly populated Indigenous areas were all yes voters, and like look, and to touch note on that too, Aboriginal people. We have this thing where it's like, and I'm speaking very generally now. I know I go through it. And I know a lot of the people I know go through it, where like something will happen, and you don't let yourself get your hopes up too much, right? You're like, this could be good if this works out, but at the same time, you're not expecting it to go the way you want it to.
Yeah.
And this happens not just with politics. Like whenever there's like a death in custody, or there's someone that's responsible for killing an Indigenous person, we're like, okay, well, maybe this is the time that person gets charged or goes to jail.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then
Or owns up to why it happened.
yeah, and then all of a sudden it doesn't go the way you want it to go, and you're like, well, cool.
There goes another one.
Yeah,
See, I
and
come from such a different perspective, right? Like Jase was like, you were saying before how, the white people need to change or whatever, right? And I sit there and go, or you were like, the people who originally did the stuff need to be the ones that fix it or change it, right? None of them are here right now.
No,
right?
no, no.
No, but hold on.
Yeah.
So my perspective's even, I guess, a little bit more, and I guess it's kind of like Paulie's. Like, my family moved here from a war-torn country,
Yep.
right? So what am I meant to do? Am I meant to like?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
So
my
we're
thought
not
process
pointing
on it,
at you saying
no,
you
I
need
know
to
that, but I'm just saying a lot of Australia are foreigners. Like that, a lot of them are ex-Europeans, come from really pretty just shitty situations as well. Like Croatia was during World War II run by the Nazis. Like it got overthrown. My granddad was in a POW. Like he was a POW. Right. My granddad moved out here. Right. Couldn't speak a lick of English. Copped nothing but racism back in those days. And you guys can laugh because you guys are black, but.
No, 100%.
Laugh.
No. But I'm saying no because
no, but I get you.
There is a thing out there. You can't be racist unless you're. Only white people can be racist. But other people can't. It's like, well, Europeans are still white, but they also had to deal with stuff when they came here too.
Yeah, they're
right?
still racially charged.
Yeah,
things
they're
from
still
both
racially
sides,
charged,
yeah.
right? So like my granddad came out here, man. He was just like non-stop.
Yeah,
they on him, right? When the Croatian versus Serbia war broke out, right? The club that I used to go to, Spiel Dalmatinac, right? They had like Molotovs thrown through the windows. They were threatened to bomb the place, all sorts of stuff. Yeah, right. Because we were a different ethnicity.
It was your grandfather that migrated here?
Yeah.
Do you know when that was?
Oh, it was in the, I dare say, 50s.
Okay. So
something like 50s.
I'm not trying to come across as like a brainiac here, right? But like, so there's a lot of racial legislation that was in our government, right? One of them was the Aborigines Act, right? Which elected a protector of Aboriginal people, and they oversaw all the things. And this is where Stolen Generation was born out of. This is where they were like, oh, we can breed the Indigenous out of them, right? We can breed them out, and this is where the caste system and all that stuff came from. Yeah. Around about the same time, and I don't know the exact dates, there was a policy called the White Australia Policy. Right?
I've done my
which was where they were like, oh, we're getting a lot of immigrants to this country that aren't Caucasian, right? We need to white this place up a little bit, or else we're going to be the minority. Right? So then they stopped a lot of different immigrants, Asian immigrants and stuff coming in, and allowed any immigration of people of Caucasian color, right? But there's still language barriers, there's still cultural differences, there's still all of this stuff that happens at the same time. So then, you know what I mean? Australia has been crazy since colonization, if you really think about it, right? So all that to say, you know what I mean? We're not laughing at your family having to go through that stuff.
Yeah, no.
And I think the important thing to point out, and I just noticed this I didn't just notice this with you. I've noticed this with other people of color. Whenever we talk about what needs to change, we look at the system because the system doesn't work for us in general. The system works for people that look and act a certain way, right? And majority of the time, it's built for old white dudes. Let's just be honest, right? Old white dudes is like the...
Yep.
I'm not sitting
They're the
on
ones who run everything.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the times when there's issues that happen in society, you're either taught to go, man, why does that happen? Right? Why do these people do this? Why does this happen a part of the system? How do we make this change? And then it always seems to be the people of color that go, why is the system like this in the first place? You know what I mean? And I think that's the question we probably ask ourselves every day in what we work at. Because we work in such an intricate area, so we're constantly looking at the system going, okay, this is what the system does. How do we provide support that doesn't add to what the system does, but then helps alleviate what the system does? If you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's the big thing that I take from that is that looking at what the system has done and how it works and why it only really works for a certain group of people and not others. And people of color that say, oh no, the system works fine, they're working their ass off to make it work fine for them.
Or they've had their people before them, like their parents, work their ass off to give them a bigger pathway to walk down than a little one that's offered.
And I mean that's what we like. My parents had to do when my dad first came out here. You know, same thing. Like he had to attach himself to a teacher.
Wait. So you were a Fremantle kid too, right? And so like let's talk highly immigrants, like packed.
Yeah, Spearwood. Yeah. I mean, my granddad was in Spearwood. They still got freaking farmers markets there. Yeah, you know what I mean. But like, I'm always a person who, I guess, if you're going to complain about something, have a solution. Yeah. I'll never go to my principal and go, I want this done. And then when he goes, well, how do you propose to do this? Oh, I don't know. Yeah. Right? What's your thoughts? How do we make this more? And that's the thing. Like, how do we do this? Like, and that's why I can't stand listening to her because she doesn't provide any actual solutions. She just wants to yell and scream.
But they're politicians, right?
I know. That's what I mean. So what are your thoughts?
They don't provide solutions, right?
How do we grow this? How do we get this back together where we're all, keep
it tight. Keep it tight.
Well, so what we do is so this is what I'm talking about, the red tape and actually getting things done, right? You have to be focused. You have to focus on the individual issues. We can't have an open forum and talk about every issue because we're not going to get anywhere. And it happens all the time, right? We'll go somewhere and it's talking about the housing crisis and then someone's going to bring up something else and then someone's going to bring up something else and we get nowhere. But if we all focus, if we have a bunch of people or a bunch of areas that focus on the individual problem and go, okay, this is what we can do, right? As long as that group or those people are somehow attached or connected to the issue, instead of like we don't have a good history of people going, you know what they need over there, and they have no idea.
Yeah, that's right.
Places, right? So that's what I propose. Is that's what needs to happen in community, and that's what we do as an organization. Is we focus on what can we do to make the biggest impact to the people that we're helping. Yeah, and we don't look at. We can't look at it and go, how do we make 100 kids' lives better? We focus on one kid at a time. How can we help this kid? What do they need? Because everybody is so different, and this leads into everything else. Australia, not even just Australia, but society in general, blanket approaches everything. Yeah. Right? How do we Band-Aid fix this for everyone? And it's never the case.
Isn't there that saying, something about like the education system? They're like, everybody's different, but if you judge a fish's ability to climb a tree, then you're always going to think that they're falling behind or something loose like that. Yeah, like the blanket approach doesn't work for everybody. It works for some, depending on where that blanket's supposed to be thrown.
Yeah. And if the blanket's for old white men, it's never going to work for anyone.
Yeah, it probably smells like mothballs then too.
Yeah, 100%.
I hate mothballs.
Well, look, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on.
Was that 2 hours?
Yeah, it's 2 hours.
So we'll get you on for 7 hours next time.
No, because mate, there is so much stuff I want to, and I love talking about it, and I love being passionate about it because I hope you take some of the stuff that I say in as well, and I guess use that to how you approach, because I'm trying to give you a very neutral, I guess, perspective, because I don't have that in me. You know what I mean? I don't get, I guess, racially driven over things because, like I said, I'm from Europe. Realistically, my whole upbringing has been European. You know what I mean? Like I used to cop crap when I was at school for having salami sandwiches and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
But now it's the crave.
From white kids, like not from Aboriginals, but from white kids. So like everyone goes through something. You know what I mean? Depending on what it is. So it's just good to be able to have that open conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
But truly appreciate it. Hopefully we can get you back on soon.
Definitely.
I know you're a busy man with kids and basketball and everything like that. Shout out to Perry Lakes too, by the way.
Yeah, Perry Lakes.
But,
we're going to get there tonight.
Yeah, so...
But dude, I love talking. Like I said, that's the only way we're going to move forward is by having open conversations
100%.
and talk about it, yeah.
And these types of conversations.
Yeah,
that's what I
100%.
like. You just... Yeah.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, I got you.
Oh, come on.
See, I didn't need to say nothing.
But no, look, man, appreciate you. Everyone else, please check out episode 1 through 7. We're now through episode 8 and splitting this up into 2.
Oh, yeah.
We have split it up into 2. And
Episode
probably
3 and 4 will definitely be coming.
Yeah.
Huge shout out to Paulie who does all of our video
Mr.
work,
E. Paul
camera
G.
work. And I'm DT.
I'm Jason, a.k.a. Tiger,
And this is Aaron Sutton.
Aaron Sutton.
a.k.a. The
Take
Black
care, guys.
Unicorn.
Yeah.
Peace out.
Peace.
Peace.